I love this car. Hey guys, and welcome to Petrol Ped. Now, I've had quite a few messages recently asking, where's Ruby Roadster? We've not seen her on the channel for ages, and yes, that is very true. And I've just given her a wash and made her all beautiful, so I thought, do you know what? I will film an update, let you know what's been happening, what my long-term plans are for the car, and I've not driven her on the channel for ages, probably years actually, so I thought we'd go for a bit of a blast. Now, I'm certainly not brave enough to put video evidence of me washing a car on YouTube, but she's all clean. I've dried her off with a towel. I've done my best. I'm not a detailer, I'm a car washer. But yeah, I've had that car over 10 years now, and I still love her today just as much as the day I picked her up. So yes, if you've been subscribed to the channel for any decent amount of time, you will be more than familiar with this car, my little mini John Cooper Works Roadster, an R59 that I've called Ruby from day one because I name all of my cars. If you're not familiar with her, then this car's been around since day one of Petrol Ped. The very first video I put on YouTube starred this car, and the journey I've had over the last 10 years with this car has been well documented. Back then, she was a completely stock car, and I went through a number of different modification journeys to bring her to where she is today. But I thought it would be just nice to kind of go through a bit of my history with the car, explain my thoughts about the car today and any plans I've got going forward. So first up, the Mini Roadster. Love them or hate them, I never understood why people didn't love them, if I'm honest. So what exactly is a Mini Roadster or Mini Coupe? That might sound like a stupid question, but I get asked that all the time. If I take this car out and fill it up with fuel at a garage, the amount of people who come up and go, what's that? Is that a Mini? So the Coupe was made from 2011 to 2015, the Roadster from 2012 to 2015, and this is a 2014 car. Fundamentally, underneath is just an R56 mini hatch with a different configuration, the most obvious thing being the Coupe and the Roadster only have 2 seats. The other obvious thing to say is the Coupe had a solid metal roof with the kind of baseball cap on backwards style, whereas the Roadster had a fully retractable canvas roof. But there are a couple of other big differences, and the one that you might not see straight away, but as soon as it's pointed out is obvious, is the windscreen. Because in the hatch or the Mini Cabriolet, this windscreen sits up at a much steeper angle, whereas in the Roadster and the Coupe it's raked right back, giving the car a much sleeker, more aerodynamic design. And then for me, the reason why, you know I love my soft top motoring, but the reason why I prefer the Roadster to the Cabriolet is because there are no seats in the back. The roof now, when it comes down, goes under this really nice, neat tonneau and looks neat when it's down. Whereas in the Cabriolet, it kind of closes, but it doesn't really ever sit underneath anything neat unless you put a cover on there. It looks more like a Silver Cross pram. I've never found it particularly aesthetically pleasing. I know you have the seats in the back, which makes it more practical, but you have a much smaller boot. Whereas in the Roadster, you have no seats in the back, but a massive boot, way bigger than the Cabriolet. You can get a set of golf clubs in the back of this boot. It is huge. Now, they did different variants of Roadster and Coupe, the John Cooper Works being the top level spec in terms of power and performance. But they didn't make many of them. They didn't make them for very long. And I had a quick look on howmanyleft.com this morning, just out of interest. And in the UK, they only ever registered 312 Roadster JCWs. And today, in 2025, there are just 295 of those still on the road. There are a few sawned, so off the road, maybe roadworthy, but actually today, just 295. So they're now a pretty rare car, really. I mean, in supercar terms, a production run of under 300, that's like really exclusive. I know you'll find them in other countries and so on, but you still don't see many of them around in the UK. And that makes me feel good because I've owned this car 10 years. Maybe I've got my hands on an appreciating modern classic. You never know. So as I said, when I bought the car, it was completely stock. It looked very different. It had originally silver wheels, but I got the dealer to spray those black before I picked it up. It had no sticker pack. I got the dealer to put those on before I picked it up. It did have the GP2 diffuser, which I think just finishes the rear end of the car off completely, but it had chrome around the headlights and tail lights, chrome belt line. And I ran it like that for a couple of years until the manufacturer's warranty had run out. And by that time I was a YouTuber, and that was the done thing to kind of start looking at doing some car modifications. I'd never modified a car in my life and found the whole process really interesting and obviously a great source of video content. There's a playlist on the channel of all the different videos I've done with this car. First up, I went to the guys at the B-Road Hunting Club, and the main thing we did was just de-chrome the car. We de-chromed the belt rollover hoops, the belt line. We put de-chromed the light surrounds. We changed the wheels, so we got rid of the mini stock wheels and put on these Team Dynamics wheels. I've always loved the design of Team Dynamics wheels, although back then they were like a kind of gunmetal grey. And we dropped the car onto some BC Racing coilovers just to give it a much more aggressive, lowered squat stance. But we did no power modifications at all at that point. But I started to really enjoy the process of modifying the car, and unfortunately it became a bit of an addiction. So the next thing we had to do was look at doing something with the engine. The performance work on this car has gone through a number of different iterations and versions. First up, the first thing I did was headed on up north to Lowen, and we put what they call their Performance Pack 2 on the car, basically taking this car up to a stage 2 tune. So I had a 100 cell Krapovich Sport Cat, a new intercooler, upgraded plugs, the ECU tune obviously. I had a whole bunch of checking work done on the engine, no changes to any of the internals. And it took power up to around about, on the rolling road we got around about 270 horsepower, about 400 newton meters of torque, so a significant hike in power. I ran the car like that for a little while, but then it became quite apparent that the clutch wasn't a happy bunny really, the standard clutch. So I went back and we fitted an upgraded TTV Racing clutch and also a Coupe limited slip differential, and that made the world of difference. And arguably I think the first bit of modification I'll now say to anybody is, before you increase the power, put an ATB in there, put a limited slip differential on the car, because you'll access the power you've got more, and then you can start building power. The performance difference was significant. I then upgraded the brakes with my really good friends at Alcon. They gave me a set of mini challenge brakes for the car. They were phenomenal bits of kit. Unfortunately though, they were race brakes, so they had no NVH in them at all, so they squealed just terribly on the road and were very difficult to live with. And I got to the point where they were just doing my head in, and it was almost the case I nearly got rid of the car because they were just too much. A great example, when you go down this modification journey, you will get to a point, I think most people do, where they modify one step too far. You know, they try and get a race car for the road and then realise that actually it's neither a good race car or a good road car. So last year when I went to Mulgari to do some filming with Darren there, we basically just worked over the car a little bit and just pared it back a little bit. So we changed the brakes. We effectively put the same calipers as comes with a JCW back on it, a different set of discs. So that just made it so it doesn't squeak anymore. And we also changed the tune slightly, so it's a slightly softer tune. It's still stage 2. We haven't dynoed it, but we still think it's probably running a similar amount of power. But I'd had the pop and bang map on it from Lowen, which when it went into sport mode was like an AK-47 firing out the back of the car. It was funny for about 3 minutes, and then it became very tiresome. So we've just changed the tune, and it's just more drivable, more linear delivery of power now. And yeah, I don't drive it really hard all that much. It's just a really nice daily car. It's just really, really quick and sounds absolutely mega as well. Last thing to mention that we did when we were at Mulgari, I've already said that it was on BC Racing coilovers. They started to knock really badly and needed to be replaced. So we put some Bilstein B14 coilovers all round and also a set of spacers just to make the stance of the car look right. The rear wheels just needed to come out a little bit more, and I think it looks absolutely spot on. We changed the wheel colour to this lovely bronze, and we also replaced the tyres. It was running Pilot Super Sports before, but it's now got Pilot Sport 5s with the lovely velvety sidewall, and these have been fantastic. And then there are a few aesthetics changes. I've got a constant supply of things being fed to me by my good mate Sam at SMPS 2012, my go-to place for little design upgrades for the car, whether that's things like these little side repeaters. I've just replaced all of the headlight surrounds and the grille surrounds with the latest full blacked out set, and I think they just look fantastic. So yeah, I've got lots of nice SMPS 2012 bits on the back. I love the little bee sting antenna. But Darren also put these kind of gold accents, gold badging, little gold stripe. And I love the way this car looks right now. But inside's pretty special, but it's sunny. We need to go out for a drive, right? Inside, I think the most noticeable thing I've done is we changed the steering wheel to this carbon and Alcantara unit from SMPS 2012. I just think it looks mega, and it's a really nice hand shape to place your hands at 1/4 and 1/4. Way back with the B Road Hunting Club, we fitted this kind of fake Alcantara here and on the doors, and that's lasted really, really well. The only thing I've always wanted to do with this car, but have never been able to find them at a price I'm prepared to pay, is when these were done, they had an option of a set of John Cooper Works Recaro sports seats. They looked mega. They go for big money on eBay now, and I would love a set of those in this car. That's the one thing I would love to change, is a really nice set of seats in the car, but as yet I haven't been brave enough to do that. Apart from that though, everything else in here is really stock, and now compared with modern day cars, it's just so analog and so retro. It does have sat nav, but it doesn't do CarPlay, and the best bit is I've still got the adapter for, I think it might be iPhone 3. I've never actually managed to get that to work, so yeah, yeah, that's a completely pointless bit of technology. There's a ski hatch you can get into the boot. I love it in here. Anyway, let's go for a drive. Ah, roof down. Considering the weather we had yesterday, it's so nice to be out with the roof down today. Now, I'm going to head on out to my favourite bit of driving road, but on the way, talk you through a couple of things. First up, the most useless display ever invented in a car, but one that I absolutely love, and that is the one just to the left of the rev counter. It's the open-ometer. It basically tells me how long I've had the roof down. And I can report, since I've owned this car, I've driven it for a total of 495 hours with the roof down. I think that's pretty good going, to be honest. And it's got like an analog dial, and every 60 minutes it resets. It's useless, completely pointless. I'd much rather have a temperature gauge, which this car doesn't have, than an open-ometer. But never mind. The other thing is, when I bought this car, I think it had 4,000 miles on the clock, and it's now just ticked over 76,000 miles in the 10 years I've owned it, which I think on a mile per year basis isn't too bad. But I don't really care about the car. The nice thing right from the start was I bought this car cash. I never had finance on it. It was always mine. And therefore I never worried about how many miles I put on it. I never worried about whether I'd go over my mileage limit for my finance agreement. I just drove it. And for the first maybe 5 or 6 years, it was the only car I had. It was my daily driver. I literally drove this car every day. And then I started to get press cars and long-termers, and then we bought the Clubman. So I had the Clubman and this, and at that point the mileage per year started to back down quite a lot, and actually the car spent quite a bit of time just parked up under a cover. But at the moment she's being driven quite a lot. I joke she's my airport run car. If I'm taking a car to the airport, this is the one I go in, because I don't really mind so much parking this up in the airport. But yeah, just as a daily driver, just mega easy, really comfortable, big boots, you can do the shopping, you can go away for the weekend, and on the bonus, when the weather's like this, you just drop the roof and it is lovely. Manual gearbox is great, and that means you can start to really enjoy yourself once you guess if the temperature's up to the right level, because there's no temperature gauge. You can start to enjoy yourself. Let's go and find some fun roads, shall we? Little bit of wheel spin there, just traction control light coming on. Now, we had pretty heavy rain last night, so there are a few big puddles to be mindful of. I know where they are though, so that's okay. But this is the kind of road where this car just comes alive. The throttle is just so playful. Big puddle just around this corner. I'm going to have to go onto the opposite side of the road, so just bear with me a second. Nothing coming, excellent. And then there's one just round this corner as well. Here we go. So application of the throttle, that's where the diff just comes in play really. It just pulls you out of the corners. I've done a couple of track days in the car and it is such a riot on track, but honestly, for me, this is way more of a road car. The pedals are perfectly spaced for heel and towing. You can get in a real nice rhythm, and just the engine sings. Exhaust wise, apart from the Sport Cats, are completely stopped all the way through to the back, and it's always sounded mega. I've toyed with the idea of whether I should put a fruitier exhaust on it, but I really don't think it needs it, to be honest. It sounds great. Now let me just show you the sport mode. It is a bit pop and bangy still. And that's even though we've taken the pop and bang map out, because it's got the Sport Cat, it's just way too annoying. So even though it's better than it was and gives you a better response, I never drive it in that because it's very childish and you just sound like a complete dick. But yeah, this is my favourite type of road in this car. The nice thing is it's fast. You know, especially over the stock car, it's a really quick car, this. But you don't ever drive or feel like you're driving ridiculously fast. You feel like you can have fun, you can push on, you can exploit the performance of the car, but you never feel like you're going to get into an awful lot of trouble. It's a rapid car, this. Oh dear me. Okay. Regular viewers to the channel will know exactly where we are. It's just lots of stickability. Now, if I was doing an auto solo or when I've done track, I would turn the traction control fully off and then just leave it to me. On the road, I tend not to do that, because normally when the traction control starts to flicker and starts to tell you that it's working, that's normally time to back off a little bit because you're driving like a dick. But it's just such a mega little car, this. 10 years on, I still love it just as much as the day I bought it home. So I guess the big question is, what's the future for Ruby Roadster? Well, at the moment I've got no plans to get rid of it, to be honest. Insurance is not a huge amount. One of the things I would say, my insurance partner Lopton insures this car, and the most important thing, and I cannot stress this enough, is that if you are going to go down the modification journey in your car like I've done, you absolutely must inform your insurance company of every single modification, even the ones that you don't think are that important. They can always, when you ring them up and say, they'll always say, oh, maybe we didn't need to know about that. But I know at least one insurance company in the UK that will not insure your car if you've had paint protection film put on it, let alone changing the wheels, putting a diff in it, up-greasing the power, changing the exhaust. Anything, make sure you tell your insurance company. Guys, are there any ideas for other things I can do to this car? I think I've kind of done it about right. I'm so pleased with the external aesthetic of the car. I think she looks lovely with the black and red and gold bodywork, the gold wheels, the stance. I just think I park her up in a car park and I look back every single time. I just go, whoa. And I know some of you are going, when are you going to start the hairdressing classes, Greavesy? Well, all I'll say to you is don't show your ignorance by making comments like that. Because if you drove this car, you would instantly get it, because she's bloody brilliant. Absolutely bloody brilliant. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed that little update on my little Mini R59 Roadster JCW. If you did, give me a thumbs up. Comments below are always welcome. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to Petrol Ped for plenty more content to come. And I'll see you on the next film. You take care, guys. Drive safe. I might just take the long way home because it's a beautiful day today. Beautiful day for a drive with the roof down.